Right, here we are, another day in the Shroud of the Avatar. Today we're going to talk about decks and deck building. In the game you'll see down here is where all your cards or spells will appear, depending on what you want to call them. Now, your cards or tiles come up or you get them by learning the particular skill. So all of these tiles are available to me, but none of these tiles are, because they haven't been learnt. So that's where your tiles or cards come from. Now, to set up a combat deck, all we have to do is create a new deck, and we'll call it, give it a name, which I will just call it a deck. So you can find them amongst the, I believe, 5 or 6 various types of decks you can create. Now, the first deck that you can have is what's called a fixed deck, which by its description will actually mean what it says. So we'll just put one of each in. It's the type of deck that you start the game off with. So go done. Then we choose a deck and equip. Now, with this type of deck, the cards are not going to change, so it means you just wait for them to cycle through before you can use the spell or action. So we wait for this to come up before we can use it again. And you can't stack, which is what I will discuss in the next type of deck. So you can see there are some limitations. If you've only got a few spells, then it's the type of deck you normally start with. Now, the next type of a deck is modify our lovely deck. So we'll clear everything out. Let's say the next deck is the shuffled deck. So we cleared out the deck. Now, the level of skill which my character is requires me to have 23 glyphs, tiles, cards, whatever you want to call them, in here, or we'll end up with a slug. So we'll just put over the amount of cards we can use. Now, the amount of cards or tiles available is dependent on how much you've learnt the skill. So I've just started with these air ones, so I can only use 1 tile, but I'm more advanced in these blade skills, so I can use 4 cards. Once you get your skill up to a certain figure, you get 5 of each card. But I believe as you start getting stronger, the more cards you must have. So let's just put in some more. Put in the thrusts. Okay, we can have 4 of those. Some double slashes. Get those so we don't get those slugs. I think that'll be enough. That's about half. So I can show you what a slug is. So now we'll equip this one, and as you can see, these are slugs. They're dead cards, we can't use them, so they just take up space. So it's not advisable to have any. So to get rid of them, you just have to fill out your deck. And what we got there, do some coup de grace in, and some rend in, 34, and some respote in. Now we have 23 glyphs or tiles or cards, and there's no slugs. You can have more, so I'll put the final riposte in. So now if we go and equip that, you can see that they all fill out and there won't be any tiles. Now you can see some of them have got green borders around them. Those are tiles that you can mix to make a more powerful action or spell. So there's 3 of them, and there's all 4 of them. So that now has made that the strongest type of that spell. Now you can also, when they come up, do combos. So if I mix those 2, it becomes a different spell, which I will show you what tiles make up a combo. So if we come out combat and go modify, if you look up here, you've got combos, and in this list it gives you, if I can get this to come up right, all of the combinations available. Now again, the highlighted ones are the ones we can do. So when you've got both of them, you can use those specialized tiles. So if we untick that, it will show us all the completed sets. So if I take the thrust with the flame fist, it will turn into a smouldering shiv. If I take the rend with the whirling blades, it will turn into a saw blade sweep. And the one that I showed you, which was a double sash with a single thrust, turns into quadruple slash, which these are more powerful, of course. And that's what the combos are, and across all of the different styles, you know, there are quite a lot combos out there. So that's the combos. Let's go back to the main deck. Now the other thing you can do with your decks is, of course, you can mix them up. So we can put Healing Ray down here and leave it locked, and if we do that, the Healing Ray will come down here, cycling through, ready for use. This could be a spell that you want to use on a regular basis, so we can do those. And let's see if we can get the other ones. It was that one, and got the other one up. Let's see if we can get the quadruple one. And that one. Can't remember how to get the saw blade one up. not to worry. But you can see how you can just put the tiles to make stronger versions of the spells, or you can mix them up to make more advanced spells, and this one will stay fixed but will always need to cycle before it can be used. Now, another thing you can do with fixing the tiles, you can still leave them so they'll come down, but if you have them as an unlocked tile, you can then set them up so that only these tiles can appear in these areas. Where's the thrust? So if we now thingy that one up, you can see that these are empty and will only take the actions or spells that we've chosen. Now this can be used to make stronger spells a lot quicker because you know what's going to come up, or you know that those particular actions or spells are always available in those slots, but again does limit the amount of cards that can be displayed. And back to the combat deck, which is hiding it. There we go. Now what you can do again to make it more advanced is you can choose to put other spells behind. You can stack them however deep you want them to come. So what we can do is we can put the rest of thrusts down behind there. You know, there's so many variations. We can put other ones over here and fix them down. So if we bring that one, you can see now we've got the flames here, and we've got these cards here, so we can just quickly thingy them up and use them. So as you can see, the decks are built to your style of play, but with these different ways of modifying the decks, you can create your own specialized deck. Just trying to think if that's everything. Got compos, got mixed decks. Now you can create them so you can fix the type of equipment that you use. So if you want to just have one set for ranged, one set for close combat, you could actually use them so you could change your clothes when you change your deck. Now the final thing in decks is you can have an equipped deck and an alternative deck. Now over here you'll see that I've got an equipped and an alternative. So now if we go into combat, you'll see the decks come up. If I go and click that, that will swap the decks to a nice limited deck, which I set up for doing just fire ranged spells for a situation that I was in. That was all I could use, but you know, it's a style of deck that I set up for a purpose. And then if we click the symbol again, it will switch back to your main deck. just show you my personal deck at the moment and explain why it's set up in that fashion. So the trip one here was a skill that I want to get up so I can get to the next level, which then means I can poison, so I want to use it regularly till it gets up to level 40 so we can go to the next tier. These are stances, defensive stance, simply because I'm a tank based character, so the buff means that our armor effectiveness is better. We lower our attack speed, but I have a very high attack speed at the moment, and of course increases damage. The other one is the parry, which just means you can parry more attacks away. And as I say, the trip was just a trip to learn, and then of course healing in combat, or if you find you've taken too much damage whilst you're fleeing combat, you can use the health. So that's one of my decks. And now there are no wrong decks. There's different styles for different plays, and with so many variations of creating the decks, it means that no one player should be exactly the same. So it's very good in PvP. So you can set your decks out for specialized needs. So if you're going into an area where there's lots of wolves, for instance, you need a lot of area damage because they'll attack you in groups, like my little slash there, which will hit all the baddies with one swipe, so that's good against wolves. Double slashes, the same, attacks 2. All of the spells have their benefits and disadvantages in some cases. Now, I hope that has made it a little bit clearer. So if there's any questions that you need answering, any other videos you'd like me to post, please do make comments below, and also please do like and subscribe so you can see more of my content. And thank you very much.